All right, so tire project. So in the process of all the insulation, which is like 90% complete at this point, we have today's tire day. So I'm actually going to be dealing with the tire situation. So these are the two tires that I decided to go with. Nobody around here sells these two specifically. We do live in kind of a rural area, so if I wanted these, I had to order them. So I just felt like it was easier just to order them, get them mounted, see how they do balancing, that kind of stuff. I have two other videos that I'm going to include with these ones so you guys can actually see what the tires look like on the balancer and like all that kind of stuff. Now remember, they've never been on the road, and that makes a difference because the tires will start to like make home, make happy once they get hot. Like all the rubber and everything on tires do infinitely better once they've actually gotten hot. The rubber hardens up a little bit and it does a better job gripping and everything else. Okay, so this is going to be the original ATC tire that came on mine. They do a Maxxis now, which they look kind of similar. And they're still 10 ply, 14 ply, 14 ply. This is a Friderictire, and this is a Doublecointire. I have a history Doublecoin, which I'll show you on my truck, but these are the tires. This is what I actually ended up going with, and the reason for that is this one balanced out a little better than that one. I had them balanced. These are unbalanced. I didn't have the rim checked before I put the tire on this one, but I did have the rim checked on that one, just the rim by itself on this one before I put that Friderictire on there. And the rim itself was 3/4 of an ounce out. So the rims themselves are kind of unbalanced. And so this one took 8.5 ounces and this one took 6 ounces of weight to balance once it was all together. However, this one was 8.5, but 3/4 of that was the rim itself. And then this one right here was 6 ounces, and I didn't do the rim. So if I follow that same kind of maybe this rim is just as bad as this one, then this one took, 5.25 ounces, something like that. So, and on big tires, like big 14, 16 ply tires, even 18 ply tires, like this one right here, the motorhome and whatnot, it takes a decent amount of weight to balance them. I mean, because there's a lot more mass there, there's a lot more moving around. These ones will actually change once they get hot. Anyway, I'm sure people who deal with tires totally know that, so I'm not going to sweat that anymore. Now, this is one thing, so I'm holding this for a reason. This is one thing that I actually noticed between these three tires. So 14 ply, 235, 80, 16, 14 ply, 235, 80, 16, 10 ply, 235, 80, 16, 80 PSI. These are both supposed to be at 110 PSI, but I've actually got it at 100 and 100, basically to match up where this one claims to be as far as its weight rating capabilities. I may go to 110, start out with that, monitor temperatures and stuff, because I have sensors that go on the wheels. Okay, so this is my purpose. So you have about a 1/2 inch, kind of hard to see that, there we go. So you have about a 1/2 inch where this tire, this Friderictire, is about a 1/2 inch taller than these guys. So I really wanted to run this one in that position because that's the one that takes the most abuse, and I'll show you the tire that came off of that one. I have the tire of that one and that one off. The one that was in the middle is this one. That's why it's marked number 2. I marked them all so I knew exactly where they came from. Anyway, so I guess what I'm getting at is I'm going to kind of zoom in on here and let you kind of look at the treads and that kind of stuff, and then I'll pull them out and let you look at all 3 of them. I probably, man, I'm struggling right now because of the height of this one versus all the other ones. This is what I ended up going with just because I kind of have like years of history of Doublecointires, and they seem to hold up really well and do a really good job. This one, there's no reviews, no nothing, no videos. The only actual images of the tires that I can actually find where they're up close and stuff like that is like in some other country. So, but this company right here historically only makes semi-truck tires, and Michelin, which, whatever, they're probably going to get me on this. Maybe they won't. Who cares? Nobody watches my stuff. Anyway, so this one right here, that Michelin actually contracts to these guys and to these guys to have tires made for trucks overseas with a Michelin name on them, but they're made by these guys. And in fact, they have the same exact pattern. Like it's the same die, same everything, except instead of it saying Double Coin or Frideric, it actually says Michelin. So figure that one out. Anyway, okay. So let's move around to the other side. So this is the Goodyear Endurance. It's aesthetically pleasing. This is the Double Coin. And as far as trailer tires are concerned, it's totally a trailer tire, right? Not a lot of fancy lettering or anything like that. Like, I'm designed to work, man. So there it is. And it is a 220 or 235 8016 RT500. So this is a Double Coin RT500. 14 ply. This is an all steel tire too. This is polyester, steel, nylon, like, yeah, I guess I kind of get why those blow. Anyway, this one's all steel. And then let's get to the Frideric here. Here's the Frideric. The Frideric is kind of like the Goodyear, nice and aesthetically pleasing. It's got a lot of little flutes and things like that in the tires to make it look nice and that kind of thing. It's got a little scrub guard here, little scrub guard on the outside here, kind of makes it look nice. This one just has kind of a reinforcement zone right here at the edge, but other than that, it's pretty basic on the rim. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of what they look like. That's a Frideric, obviously all supposed to be the same size, but that one's obviously a little taller. Technically, that one could technically have more air pressure in it. I haven't actually checked it. Now, number one thing, safety part of this video. See that valve stem right there? That one and that one were both loose. So this nut that's right here, so see that nut? It's tight now, but it literally, I took it off by hand. It must have been the air pressure alone that was just keeping it in the tire, but it was completely loose. So just so you guys know, check those stems and make sure that they're tight. Now, don't just go like crazy and God tight those things or anything like that. Remember, it's just rubber on the back side of that. You could pinch that seal out and then she's totally done, right? And then you're mad at me because I told you to tighten them down. It's totally up to you. Remember, this is not me telling you to go do something. This is just my opinion on this stuff, period. And my opinion is just my opinion. Doesn't mean anything in the scope of the world. So anyway, so tighten those down. Makes a big difference. Okay. So again, there's your Double Coin. Let's get in on that tire tread. You can see all the little diamonds and stuff down in here. You can see the siping down in there. Now they do have a little kind of a little venturi inside each one of these. But it is a nice solid edge. That's totally going to put up with the scrubbing. And these will actually keep out rocks. Just so you guys know, these will keep out rocks. But it does a really good job with like rain, like all that kind of stuff. And because these are variegated like that, it'll actually do really good in the snow too. Maybe not on ice. I mean, nothing's good on ice, right? And then, well, I guess technically you could put studs in it. Anyway, I don't think they allow those in a lot of states. They do in Idaho, but they don't really do that anywhere else. Okay, so the Frideric one has nice little siping. It also has those little indentations in every single one, where that one only had it in the 3 middle ones. This one also has nice little siping on the edges. It also has this kind of little rock deleter down through the center, which also can help with snow. But these being variegated or offset like this actually helps out with snow and stuff like that too. It does have, I'm trying to get a good picture for you guys. It does have like decent depth to it. So even though that one looks maybe deeper than this one, they're still both 3/8 of an inch, maybe 5/16 as far as tread depth. So, but again, get in a little bit on this. And this is the Friderictire. So these are solid, right? They just have this little bit at the top. You can kind of see that. But these are all solid lugs. That one is not. So, yeah. So here's this again. And these are solid too. It's just once you get past this little wear point right here, then they're solid underneath. You can kind of see that there. They only go down so far. But definitely a better tire for the application. Even though I'm trying to make this an Idaho edition, it really is about, you know, trying to find a good appropriate tire for what we're doing that is obviously going to put up with scrubbing. And let me show you the scrubbing issue. So, well, I mean, let's put it in perspective. This motorhome has 295/80 22.5s on it. I use a Michelin XZA2s, mostly just because the massive amount of weight that this thing is. This thing's heavy. I mean, it's as heavy as a semi, like truck and trailer, right, with a load in it. Okay, so this is an XZA2 Energy, whatever, right? And, oh, this is kind of what my point is. So you see how these tires are kind of laid out? I mean, it's probably not really the greatest picture. Maybe come over here. There we go. But see how they have this solid lug? The solid lug helps. Each one of these lugs are solid. And it makes a huge difference. Huge difference. Like this one right here. So this is a tag axle. So motorhomes don't have dual drive axles. Well, ones like this anyway. This is typically a tag axle, which is steerable and liftable, right? Ours isn't steerable, it's just liftable. But you can see where it rounds this edge, where this one's a sharp edge. You see that sharp edge? This one's more rounded, and it's because if you don't lift this axle when you turn sharp, it just drags this edge. Like it'll drag the edge in a little bit, and it just rubs it down. Really not a huge deal. You can see it doesn't make that big of a difference. But even though these tires look really good, they got to be replaced this year. Okay, so these are why we're changing out tires. So this one right here was on the front axle, on the passenger side front axle, and you can see that the scrubbing has just worn that thing clean down. Like this still looks like all the other tires, but over here this is gone. And that's from turning. Same thing here. This is the back axle, because the one that's over there with the other three tires, that's the middle axle. Same thing. This one right here is in the back though, so it's not as bad as the front one. And what's crazy to me is that these three on this side, no problemo. No problemo. No problemo. Now, when this thing's sitting on the ground and we have all of our stuff in it or whatever it is, these suckers look like they're going to pop. Like they swell out quite a bit. Okay, and now I'm going to kind of get off a little bit on those tires. This is what we use on our 450. These are double coins. This is going to be like the second vehicle. We have another big vehicle that actually has these. But these double coins right here work pretty good. These ones are actually called Ice Grip. And, oh, let me move my head here. These ones right here are absolutely phenomenal in the snow. I mean, night and day difference in snow traction. It's absolutely crazy. And then, again, when it comes to a steer tires take a lot of scrubbing. This is a Michelin tire. You can see here, nice solid lugs. They don't sell this in a trailer tire, or I would have bought it for that camper. These are 14 ply too. That's what these 4 and 550s take, are 14 plies. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that so far. I actually thought that it wasn't gripping the road too good because I drove this thing in the snow, and I thought that they weren't gripping too good. And so I did what I call a test. So I do a brake test and an acceleration test, and it actually did really well. So, and when I mean acceleration test, I actually mean acceleration like around a corner with some snow and ice. Not stupidly, like not to the floor or something, but I see if this tire can be pushed by the rear end, like, you know, drug, and it did really well. So give me a level of confidence, right? Because we're getting ready to head into driving this thing in snow. The 550 has Continentals. We don't use this truck a ton. We mostly use it to haul a lot of really heavy stuff to Arizona. And it's set up that way. You can see that this front end's way more worn down than the back. and the tires are really kind of not cupped, right? So we don't do high speed or anything. This thing won't go over 80. But anyway, so these tires are kind of highs and lows from scrubbing, from when you go to turn, and it just scrubs the tire as it goes around, because these are meant to be like a drive tire, even though this is what the factory puts on it. These are meant to be like a drive tire, not a steer tire. That Michelin tire I just showed you is more of a steer tire. Okay, so that's going to be tires. Again, we're getting ready to swap all these bad boys out to those double coins. That one tire is a little bit bigger of a tire, and I've got about a 45-minute drive to the tire shop that I'm going to be going to. So I guess in that drive right there, I'll decide whether or not I want to put all of those on and take that one off, or take the chance and leave that one on, even though it's like a ½ inch taller. Because I don't want it to be weird, but I really wanted to put that tire in that location because that's the one that takes the most abuse. And I want to see how well this tire would actually hold up to that. And the reason for that is that this tire is about $34 cheaper than this one, and this one's about $100 cheaper than that one. So, and it's not so much about price. Price is not my issue. It's how well is it built? How well does it do? How long is it going to hold up? And does it do the job that I need it to do to take me down the road safely, where I'm not sweating it? Like, I'm not sweating one of them blowing out, which we have some ATC friends that their trailer was empty and those blew. So I guess I got lucky so far. I don't think that's a big common issue, but it could be. I've actually seen a lot of these blown, not by ATC trailers, but by other trailers that this stuff's come on. And maybe it's just because, you know, it's kind of like Ford builds a lot of vehicles. Chevy builds a lot of vehicles. Dodge builds a lot of vehicles, just not as much as the other two, right? So it's like a law of averages, or just statistics, right? Which I'm not super good with English. So anyway, so there's our tires, and I'll decide whether or not I'm going to take that one off and put double coins everywhere and just see how they hold up. And then if they hold up good, maybe I'll just keep that one as a spare. I don't know. I kind of liked it, honestly. I like the look of it. But anyway, so I'll let you guys know maybe what I shake down. So when I take it on the first trip, if I've decided to keep that one on there, we have a trip to California. So I am going to, when we drive on these or whatever, if I leave that one in that location, on that tire right there, on that spot, if I leave that one there, I'll kind of give you guys an update on how that did. So it's only a 1,000-mile trip. It's really not that big a deal, but it's enough to at least get that broke in. And because it's that location, and I know how I'm going to be turning into it and stuff like that, that one's actually going to take some snot. Then that will really kind of show me how that thing held up. And if it didn't hold up, when I come back from California, which is another 1,000 miles, I'll be able to swap that one out for one of the new ones, because these ones probably will have almost no indifference on it by the time I get back, because 2,000 miles is typically on these kind of things isn't that big a deal. This one maybe so much, but not so much those. Okay. All right, cool. So I'm going to get my tires off, throw them in the truck, and I'm going to go through and clean up the floor and everything like that. That way when I come back, everything's neat and tidy. I don't like anything being too messy. So, although my shop's kind of a mess, so it doesn't really make sense, right? Anyway, where I'm working, I don't like it to be dirty where I'm working. All right, cool. Talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.